Welcome back to the channel, gents. Today I want to talk about men, what it takes to make a man. And today men are physically weak, uncertain, emotionally weak, religiously weak, right? Weak in all areas, and it's not their fault, right? It is the way the world is set up, right? But it's not, as I said, it's not their fault. But staying that way it's their responsibility to change that, to address that. So we're going to look at it today. So the generational wound, right? So if you look around, and the interesting thing about this is not just in the US, right? If you look around wherever you are, whatever country you are in, look around and you'll see this. It's not in the US, it's not just in the UK, it's everywhere, right? You have a generational wound. And what I wrote here for the generational wound is, it's scars left by fathers, right? Or left behind by broken fathers, should I say, and broken homes, broken families, essentially. So, broken homes, broken families. And what happens is boys grow up without a man or men to guide them in today's world, and then they become men who are man boys, right? Or boy mans, I don't know what you want to call it. They're still boys inside. They have the appearance of a man, but they're still a boy inside. And that is what is kind of like, that's what is happening today. It kind of is a cycle that keeps on going and going and going, and it just repeats itself. So you got those boys who's come from broken homes and abandoned from fathers, or emotionally checked out fathers. They then become fathers themselves, and they haven't dealt with these things, and they haven't addressed the traumas or the issues, and then they basically replicate the whole system back into their child. And so it's just this whole generational wound thing that just keeps on going through a cycle. All right, every cycle, and it's and then like, I see it. Why? The reason I say it's not just in the US or the UK, because that's most people outside of the US and the UK. That's what most people think, in my opinion. I used to just think, oh, this used to be a American problem, or a British or a UK problem. But it's not. The more I learn, the more I look, the more I address these things that I am dealing with myself, the more I see it in general. Like, even where I am, Thailand, this is a massive thing that's coming. It's a bit behind. Well, not a bit behind, but it hasn't been addressed yet. But the stuff that's coming, that I can see coming here, is insane. Like, the boys or men here are not ready, or also have that generational wound here on a very high level, and it's slowly creeping out and slowly becoming present. So as I said, I see it every day. The fathers are absent, the sons are drowning, they're directionless, they have no hope, they don't know what to do. There is no light for them at the moment. And what is happening is many of the men, or the man boys, or the boys today, they are blaming women. They're saying it's women's fault. Or a lot of these things, they're taking it out on the woman. And I would say it's not only the woman's fault. I would say it's both people. Both parties have a stake in this. Both are doing it, right? It's about responsibility. It's not about blame. It's about responsibility. Both sides are responsible for this. It's not. It takes two to tango, right? So, and another thing that the men are doing now. The next section is Men are looking for a mother 2.0, right? Men these days are looking for a mother 2.0. They're not looking for a partner or a wife. They are looking for, for a second mother, in essentially. So I've written down some things here about that. So what they're looking for a second mother. So they want someone that will cook for them, that will clean for them, handle their emotional baggage or their emotions, right? Take care of their responsibilities, essentially. Just like your mother did. My mother did all of this for me, right? And that's what you're looking for in a partner now. And that's not what men were created for, right? Like, deep down, every man knows this. Like, we know this shit, man. We know this. I don't care what you say. I don't care if you're gay, transgender, whatever. You know this deep down. You've masked it, you've buried it, you've hidden it, but you know this. And I'll come back onto that, the gay part I just said now. So we were made to protect, we were made to provide, we were made to teach, we were made to lead, right? As a man, that is what we were built for. That's what we are here for. Is to serve, is to lead, right? To provide, to teach the next generation, to protect. That is the core essence of what a man should do, right? And back onto that gay part, most of the gay men I've met here are very much have these qualities. They're a bit more feminine in a sense, but they have all these qualities. They protect themselves and their group and their relationships. They lead. They often out earning where I am stationed. They're often out earning most people here, just because they're such driven people. They're on a march, right? So so you can't say this is not true. So deep down, or I say you can't say, deep down, this is what we were made for this, and you know it, right? So something I want to share something that I resonated with heavily, which I call the full man, from Dry Creek Wrangler on YouTube, from Dwayne. His YouTube channel is Dry Creek Wrangler. It was a podcast. I will link the podcast in the show inside the video. But man, this resonated with me. So he said, and I might be paraphrasing it a bit here, but he said, man was made in the image of God, right? So God was made in the Trinity, or he's the Trinity, right? He's got God the Father, God the Son, God the Holy Spirit, right? Man was made body in the Trinity as well. So body, soul, and spirit, right? And if a man neglects any one of these three, he isn't whole. This is insane. This makes so much sense to me. He isn't whole, right? If all your focus is your body, right, you might get strong, but you'll be a shallow man, right? You'll be very shallow, because that's all you are. You are strong, right? If all you focus on is the soul, art, music, beauty, you may feel deeply, but you will lack discipline, right? You'll lack discipline in your life. And you can see that with the very arty people. You'll see that they don't really have the discipline. They very much go their own way, right? Which can be good. And if you only focus on the spirit, you might have your faith, right? But you'll still live like a coward. In other words, you're not going to be a full man. To be a complete man, to be a whole man, you need all three working in harmony, in my opinion, right? Just put on the AC. It's getting a bit hot in here. So, I don't know if you can see my phone. I wrote down my notes here. Because I really want to get this point across to you guys. I sat with this for a while, and I really thought about this, and I have had debates about this, and people on the other side are saying, no, it doesn't take a man to make a man, and I disagree with this, and this is my case. So So you need all three working in harmony to be a full man, right? And the next part of my argument is, you're not born a man. I will say that again. You're not born a man. Just let that sink in. Just think about that for a second. You're not born a man, right? You're born a male. Yes, definitely. You're born a male. But becoming a man, that takes intentional guidance, in my opinion, right? Yes, you're born a male. That does not make you a man. You learn manhood by or from example of other men, right? Imitation. If you look at any child, any gender, right? What, it doesn't matter, but let's say any child, like mostly for me, I'm talking about boys. Let's just focus on boys, because I don't have a daughter. I have a son. If I look at my son, he doesn't imitate so much his mother. He imitates me completely. If I sit a certain way, he'll come and sit next to me and sit that certain way. If I lie down, he will lie down. If I do something like that, he will do it, right? He imitates. He learns by example, not by what I say or anyone says to him. He learns by example. So men learn throughout their lives how to be a man, right? So from your birth till 18 years old, you are looking at other men in your life. Not necessarily always your father. It can be any other man in your life, right? You look at them for examples. That is where you get your example of what a man is. And what happens when that example is missing? Well, what do I mean by missing? So it's like when boys are raised only by women or by the system, right? The system. We know most of us have been raised by the system, or by emotionally absent fathers. That one is where I currently am. I see this one the most. Like, either they're raised by their mothers, which I'm not attacking mothers. Like, it's I take my hat off to them for trying to raise boys. It takes two parents, and you need the father in the boy's life. But I'm not taking away from the mothers looking after their sons. I mean, you got to do what you got to do, but it does have its drawbacks. Let's put it that way. So, as I said, they imitate what they see. So that means becoming. Often, what that happens when that is if you're raised by your mother or a woman, you're raised by an emotionally absent father, or you don't have, or the father is just missing completely. What often happens is that means boys become passive, reactive, and emotionally unstable. All right. So let's go back into the next one. The next one is be the man who breaks the cycle. Let's put it that way. Be the man who breaks the cycle in your family, in your generational wound. Break that cycle, right? So, and that's why I believe, this. It takes a man to make a man. If you started doing the work, right, and you're building your body, you're sharpening your mind, you're strengthening your spirit, right, then you have a responsibility, in my opinion. A responsibility. Be an example to the next man, right? Be an example to the next man. Be the guide. Be the guide that you never had, basically. That's what my channel is about. I'm becoming, I won't say that I never had. I had guides. But I'm dealing with the nice guy syndromes. I'm dealing with all of these things. And I'm becoming the person I need to become to fix the things in my life. And this is also kind of to guide other men in the same path, to bring light to these things, to I see it so much in my life now with my work that I do and the kids that I work with, and it's not a hidden thing. So I want to be an example. I want to set the standard. I want to show them the way. I want to guide. So be the guide you never had in your life. And the world doesn't need more nice guys. We've got a lot of nice guys. We don't need more nice guys. Like me, I'm a nice guy myself, or a hidden man. I resonate more with a hidden man. So I'm a hidden man myself. The world doesn't need more of me. They or more man boys. I used to be a man boy, play games, all of that thing. It needs a man of courage. It needs men of faith, especially now. It doesn't matter what faith. I'm not necessarily saying you have to be Christian. It can be Buddhist. You could be whatever your religion. Believing in just in a higher power, but it needs men of faith. It needs men of action, right? And if you're hearing this and maybe that man is you, great. If it spoke to you, if it spoke to you deeply, if you resonated with this, just you're not alone. Just note you're not alone, right? So go to my links down below if you wish, and follow, if up to you. It's up to you if you want to. And I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.